see. I don't know what's gonna happen there.
Are we? Is that a home game?
Yeah, it's a home game.
And see, that's what's strange to me, man. And I have brought this up numerous times. I don't know what it is, but we play better on the road than we do at home, and it's been like that, really, honestly, for the last 2 years. I don't know what it is, but we do play better on the road. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the I don't know what it is, but we do play better on the road right now. Our win record's better on the road, or our scoring percentage is higher on the road than it is at home.
Hmm.
In fact, if you remember, I think was it Arizona when Mahomes had it was his first game under 300 yards. He threw for like 279. It was when Brittany's dad collapsed at the stadium. Um,
That might have. I know that happened. I remember that happening in the Arizona game.
yeah,
I don't remember. He broke the
yeah,
record for Lynn Dawson with like 32 touchdown passes that game.
yeah. That was the first time I had seen him. Anybody had seen him throw for under 300, I think, at that point. And uh, it was weird because it seems like from that point on, if you go back and you look at us, we always seem to score less when we're at home for the most part. And we've
Hmm.
lost more games at home than we've lost on the road, it seems like. I don't know why that is, but it just kind of seems like that's how it's been. We just played a dilapidated team. Um, they're injured everywhere. And I've noticed one thing that every team is playing us with a two high safety set, and they're blanketing the two best players we have, and nobody else was really stepping up other than Hardman tonight. He really stepped up. He played well. You got to give him that. He did.
Mm.
Everything that came his way, he caught. He ran with it. I mean, everything he did well. Mahomes seems to be this. God, I hate saying this, but it seems to be that he is dealing with things that are not just football related, and I'm going to
Mm.
leave it at that. Um, he's it's a strange situation, but that's what I see. Um, I don't really want to get into that much of it, but I can see it in his face. I can see it in a lot of things. And weirdly enough, you and I had talked about this off air,
Hmm.
um, probably what 3-4 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, it's becoming a thing nationally. And I've had 3 or 4 things sent to me now that um, and we've kind of alluded to it a little bit on the show, but nothing like major. But now I've had 3 or 4 things sent to me saying that one of them actually said we're wondering about Mahomes' mental stability, and then they
Mm.
showed pictures of Mahomes sitting in a bar when Brittany and um, Jackson are doing TikTok videos, and his back's to them, and he not a bar, maybe a restaurant bar type of thing, and his back is to them, and he's not even interacting with them. And then another one, he's doing the same thing, and he looked absolutely miserable. And they're doing goofy shit, and he is sitting there very unhappy. And you can see it in his face. So it makes you kind of wonder if this stuff isn't getting to him a little bit as well. I mean, as much as I don't want to bring this up, I'm gonna because it's something that needs to be said. This is a this is a guy that, and it doesn't matter if it's him, if it's Aaron Rodgers, if it's who it is. He's a 20, just turned 26 years old, just had a kid, the face of the NFL, and his entire life has been turned upside down in a year. He's went from having a kid to a completely revamped offensive line, internal issues with the team, the continuity is not completely there. Um, a change of wide receivers, a change of running backs. Um, it's just a lot of changes all at one time, I should say. And then we've all seen the off-field issues his brothers had. I mean, he had him, pouring water on people's head and doing all the dumb shit that he's done, you know, whether it be to build his brand or whatever it may be, that is still affecting him in ways that there's no way it couldn't be. I mean, it's no matter how you look at it, and I'm going to say this because someone else had brought this up to me as well,
A
and
fan of the show?
he's actually been on the show.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say this because he brought it up to me, and I had kind of had this thought, and there was something else that was brought up to me as well, and I didn't spew this out because it's not my business, and I'm still not going to spew it out. But Fizz from the Mike and You podcast had brought this up to me, and he said he actually edited it out of his show at one point because he didn't want to stir up any shit, and I understand. But he did bring it up, and it's, you know, it's a culmination of things. You know, when you've got so many things going on, he's worried about his head coach. He's worried about, you know, with Andy getting sick at the time. And then, you know, again, everything just being turned upside down, you know, a new baby, a new this, a new that, and getting married, if that's, you know, a thing. Just everything in general. It's, you can't expect, I guess, let me put it this way. I guess you can't expect someone one person to fix it all, and you can't expect one person to be able to handle every single thing around them. And when if you don't have one part of your life that's completely stable, it's going to affect you. Okay, I mean, it just is what it is. We've all been through it in some ways or another. It's not just, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm just saying this could be part of the problem. It's very hard for me to believe that this is not. I've never seen him look defeated, and since week really 2 or 3, I guess, the look on his face has been a look of defeat, and it's kind of gotten
Yeah, I would
more.
say I think from what I've seen, he doesn't look like the same guy. I mean, because he's been in the dirt so many times. I think that comes into just being in the pocket. He's learning if they're making him pay in the pocket. It's like, why?
Yeah,
Let him cook, let him do what he did week 1. But it
yeah,
seems like Andy didn't want to put him in this box. I'm like, you know what? If this season goes to waste, it's on the coaching staff because they don't want to make changes. They want to be stuck in this is my way. This is how we're going to do it. And
yeah,
it's just pretty pathetic at this point. I think what I've noticed and I've seen is that if Spags will not make changes, if Andy will not enforce changes, then we're going to be looking at a couple of years of Mahomes' prime being wasted. And
yeah,
we saw that kind of with Alex Smith and Sutton. They should have won some playoff games. But because Sutton wanted to do his own thing and Andy did not want to check him or make sure everything was right, it caused loose a couple games in the playoffs.
yeah.
I think even Sean was no, it's not Sean Taylor. It was
Sean Smith.
Sean Barber. No, Sean Barber on Twitter said fire Spags ASAP. I agree with him.
I thought that was Sean
It needs to
Smith.
happen. No, it was Sean Barber. It
Oh,
was
it
Sean
was.
Barber, and I was like, yeah, that it has to happen. I mean, at this point, if Sorensen's getting continually cooked on national TV and you continue to do nothing, and you're just gonna sit there, you gotta make some cuts, man. I know apparently Darnell Daniels too small and Darius Harris isn't good. I'm like, look, put him in. Let
Can't get
Armando
any
West come
worse.
in for Sorensen. It's at this point, it's like if they're not going to try to fix anything, then I know Spags has won 3 Super Bowl rings, but at this point, it's kind of like, come on, man, you got to make adjustments. You have to make
Well, somebody had
adjustments.
said, did you see somebody else on Twitter? I think it might have been, it was another old coach or player. Somebody had popped up and said he's stuck in 2005, mentally stuck in
Who
2005.
Spags?
Yeah. And we had said that, God, the last 3
Well, we know
shows
we've
had,
been saying he's been stuck in the depth chart mindset, and that has been an issue because he hasn't done anything to help. Well,
yeah,
he
which is an
obviously,
old mindset. I mean, that's an old mindset.
yeah, it's nothing has changed.
Yeah. And I think we've actually said this is not 1998. It's not 2008. It's, you know, it's time to change. And if you can't change, then it's time to move forward. I
But
noticed
hey,
it.
man, go ahead.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say is I think the silver lining is gonna work out. I'm not trying to be all negative, and I'll
I
bring up
know.
some positives from this game. But for I'm just more frustrated from the point is I'm seeing the same issues happen week after week after week. Nothing has seemed to happen. It's just kind of like at this point, look, either they're gonna turn it around and he's gonna have a come to Jesus meeting and actually do something to make them change. Because we've seen him with Sutton in the past not doing anything, Matt Nagy in the past not doing anything, or what will end up happening is that they will come through and prevail. And I have faith they can do it. But that game right here just kind of showed me. Now there's a lot of positives. Gore, we said on the podcast. I said
Phenomenal.
this back in August. He
Yeah.
deserves to make the 53-man roster or the
Yeah.
practice squad at least. And when he got, and I was happy they took him over Darwin Thompson. He's a much better complete running back
Oh
than
God,
Darwin
yeah.
Thompson, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not saying nothing bad about Thompson, but Gore is a better hit the whole round, north south run. He doesn't do the east and west, but he has some great cuts.
He
So I
does have
think he's
great
going to be a
cuts.
staple. Him and Daryl Williams are going to be the staple. This kind of makes me wonder what are they going to do with CH because he
Yeah.
hasn't really been getting any big runs. So
Yeah. And if you look at their yards per carry, Gore tonight, I mean, and in the times he's been on the field, he's actually played better than CEH. I mean, honestly, he has. He's not injury prone so far.
I really don't think he will be. He
I don't
seems
either.
hungry.
Yeah,
Like
he's
they said, he
hungry and
was
he's
on 2 practice squads before this, before he came to the Chiefs. I really think he's gonna have a staple in this offense moving forward. I really do, and that's one positive I saw from this game. Another one I would see the defense overall, besides Neiman and Sorensen, play phenomenal. And Sneeze slipped and fell. It is what it is. It happens. But
yeah, it's gonna
other than
happen.
that, the defense showed up. If the defense didn't show up, then we would have got blown out. We
What
would
do you
have
think of
lost.
Hughes?
He wasn't even out there, was he?
Yeah, he was there a little bit.
Well, he wasn't really affected. So I
You know
mean,
what's
good and bad.
irritating me? I think more than
Baker.
anything, yes.
See, and this is why I don't understand what Spags is doing. You have a great cornerback, but you're not letting him play. It's like, come on, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, we alluded to that situation, and I mean, I can say it.
I
I might
mean,
as well. I
yeah.
mean, it's there's no point in keeping it. I mean, it's been going on too long now, so there's really no point. Look, there was an issue apparently with one of the defensive coaches that I'm not going to say the name, and it's not apparent. There was an issue with one of the defensive coaches that occurred, um, and it involved Baker and it involved Thornhill. Um, this was the reason why Thornhill wasn't being played. And I still believe this is part of the reason why Baker's not being played. It has nothing to do with his injury. It has everything to do with this. Also, part of this whole depth chart bullshit. But I still believe this, the main problem was that, and the whole interaction between this one coach, which I know for a fact is not going to be here next year. There's been some issues within which we've never really had to deal with before. There's been some continuity issues within the coaching staff, and it's not just on defense. I don't know if anybody noticed tonight, but EB was very quiet. He stayed off to himself for the most part. He wasn't really calling plays. He was, I mean, in my opinion, it almost looked like he was wording it at a couple of times, but he really wasn't calling plays. Andy was calling all the offensive plays tonight. And in fact, when Andy was interacting with Pat and EB walked up, EB didn't say a word. And there's a reason behind that. I'm not going to get into that reason, but there is a reason behind it. I will say this. There's also a reason why EB is not a head coach. And I don't really see him becoming one. And it's not for any other reason other than what we're seeing right now. And I don't want to go too far with this, but he has, I think all of the, I don't think I know. I do think, I'll just put it that way. I think with all of the chatter and all of the talk about him being the great offensive coordinator and, you know, should have been a head coach and being passed over and the reasons why, The reasons why are is he doesn't interview well.